You're watching Leafs Morning Take with host Nick Alberga and former NHLer Jay Rosehill. The show starts now.
All right, here we go. Game 82. Feels that way. Game 42 of the regular season. Nick Alberga, Jay Rosehill. Leafs Morning Take presented by Bet365. What's going on, my man? How are you?
What's happening? Wow. A show with Chris Pronger, current Leaf favorite in many ways. Troy Stecher. What a show. Our fans are very lucky.
Yes, sir. And looking forward to this latest installment of this rivalry with the Florida Panthers, game 2 of 4. If you recall, way back when in early December, the Panthers were really banged up. The Leafs went into Sunrise, won that game 4-1. I expect a different tone in this game. Injuries piling up. We'll get to that. But do you have a chance to catch any of the World Juniors last night?
I'll be honest, I didn't even know the bronze medal game was today. And I turned it on when there was like 30 seconds left, and it was like, yeah, okay, tough one for those guys to try to rebound from the heartbreak of losing to Czechia and then having to turn it around really quick to actually get your head on straight to play that bronze medal match. Whatever. Bronze is better than losing the bronze and getting fourth. That's kind of embarrassing. Bronze is something, but man, it's just not what Canada's come to expect and, just desire out of that tournament. But they got beat fair and square. I thought Sweden was going to win the tournament after I saw them play for the first time. I'm curious to have Chris Pronger's opinion. He's a lot of Team Canada experience at a lot of different levels, and want to hear what he has to say about it. I wonder if he'll just fluff it off and say, hey, that's hockey, baby, or if he thinks there's some bigger things at hand here, because 3 years in a row, a bronze medal is all you got for it. Probably not up to snuff for Team Canada.
Tell you something, that's a hell of a call to pick Sweden to win this tournament. I think they had won one gold medal in 44 years. This is their first since 2012, so it had been almost 15 years. They don't win this tournament. I think I said it in our group chat. They win their division, and then they shit themselves in the most important games. And I think full value. I thought Czechia would come out with more, but I think it was quite clear that Canadian game was their gold medal. And you have to credit Sweden for coming out there, taking care of business. But it was just a weird tournament from the lack of crowd to the way Canada just fell short. Like for a team who averaged, 6 or 7 goals per game to fall short the way they did. But for some reason, Czechia has their number, man. It's really bizarre stuff. That's 3 years in a row they've eliminated Canada here?
Yeah, big time they've got their number. And the reason I picked Sweden, and I said that in the group chat, and you said, yeah, they always shit their pants. And after the round robin or whatever, they just looked like they were playing together. They were connected. They were going hard. They were playing fast. They were getting to, they had jam. And I was like, oh my God. And they looked big too. I was like, that team might be the one to give Canada a handful. I thought they could handle Czechia again if they did face them. They did. And frustrating to say the least. So I'd like to ask Prongs, is this other countries catching up to Canada? Is there something wrong with Canada's program? Are we leaving the wrong players at home? We'll get his take on it, but probably a mixture of a little bit of everything. But it just felt like a little bit disconnected for the Team Canada. A lot of talk about these kids and hockey. I'm right in the thick of it with minor hockey, and every kid's on a super team, a super league, a triple A, quadruple A, super triple elite. And it's like, do these guys just get stroked 24/7? And you just don't seem to have those Saskatchewan farm boys who have to grind their way up through their minor hockey program and fight their way onto teams and prove themselves over and over again and deal with heartbreak and adversity. Maybe there's something to say about that. Maybe there's something to say about, there's all these rich kids from the cities are the only ones that can afford to play. And they're these stroked little babies who don't have to go through any adversity, who have never thrown a hay bale, who have never, had anything bad happen in their life. And then they get big, scary moment happen and they don't know how to handle it. And I'm not shitting on these kids on Team Canada. I think they battled fairly hard, but it's just, look, I'm just worried there's a problem with Team Canada and the way the structure is happening with kids coming up where they don't have to go through adversity and they're not prepared to deal with the going getting tough. And at the same time, these other countries are putting together some pretty damn good programs and playing some really good hockey and really challenging Canada.
It just shows you it doesn't matter how much talent you have, doesn't mean squad at the end of the day. Because I think that Canadian roster up and down, I know losing Brady Martin there in the semi really, really hurt, but they had enough to win that tournament. And I'll be honest, it was frustrating watching some of those kids. Like you talk about the entitlement. Like I think about a team, like it was little things like watching Gavin McKenna, the body language after a teammate didn't feed him for a 1T. Like I saw that a couple times, and it happened across the board. It wasn't just McKenna, Parekh. I mean, not to name names, but I am right now. But like they lack the cohesion that a winning roster needs. And you're so right. And times are different. I've talked to a lot of people the last couple of days and trying to compare it to like the 2000s, the 2-2 era, where just Canada would show up and just bully the fuck out of you. Like, you're not winning this tournament. Remember what they did to Alex Ovechkin, dude? The guy was too scared to even show up to play them at the end. Like, it's just a different heartbeat to this tournament, different feel. But it's really unfortunate that we're talking now 3 years in a row and they're defeated by Czechia. That should never happen to begin with. But it just more so the process didn't look right from the beginning with this team.
Yeah, and I mean, geez, some super talented players. A bunch of players are probably going to have a lot of success at the NHL level. There's tons of talent there. I don't know about the guys they left at home. I'm not that dialed into it, but there was this feel of a whole bunch of individual efforts out there where, yeah, they played some hockey, and there was some highlight clips where, like, did you see what that guy did? And how about what that kid is capable of? It was nice to see, but as far as team unity and momentum and just clicking together and chemistry, I know it's hard to get chemistry in a short tournament, but we've seen it before. We've seen it before like crazy, and it seemed a little bit individual. And again, that makes me wonder, like, what is the process for these kids getting to this level? Is it the same as it used to be, where you had those teams that are just, they're looking at each other saying, oh baby, like, just drop the puck, we are on the same page here, and away they go. I don't expect it to be 2005 anymore, where you're just running teams through the boards. It's not that style of hockey anymore. But yeah, I agree with you. It does seem like there's a missing ingredient where we just don't have that power that we used to. And sorry to say, that's something that we've always held in very high regard, something we're very proud of. We don't have a ton of things to be proud of in this country. We're kind of a small population compared to, I guess, the States is what I'm comparing to, but like, that's what we hang our hat on. That's what our identity is. That's what people think of when they think of us. And if we start losing our dominance at hockey, it's kind of sad, and it scares me. So, good things at the Four Nations last year. Obviously that was huge. Yeah. Even though I don't know how much people paid attention, the Olympics are going to be big this year, and even more reason to be tuned into this one. I think it's going to be a pretty good tournament.
It's like Austin Powers without his mojo. You're right. And, I was curious to get your interpretation, what you thought of Zayn Parekh. I don't know if you caught those comments over the weekend, but he pretty much buried his entire team, his coaching staff, his teammates. And, oh, yeah, he's headed back to be with the Calgary Flames on a road trip. I wonder how that's going to be received.
I think it's a bit overblown. I mean,
I can tell you it's not.
Like, so he just said, I like to have a personality. There are people in my team saying, give limited answers and stuff. And some of the guys just sound like robots. So it's nice to be able to get out of my comfort zone and show my personality. Is that a summation of what I said?
Pretty much. I'm just going off what I heard in Calgary. They're not too pleased. And I don't think it's just something that's come up the last couple weeks, if you catch my drift.
Interesting. Yeah, I mean, I looked at it as one of those things that gets blown out of proportion. He's just saying, hey, it's nice to get here with the young kids and show some personality. And, in the NHL, in a market that's in Canada, you are kind of nudged, like, just say less, don't. And it's funny because he says that and goes off the script, right? And gets a ton of heat for it. So is the message, don't go off script? Because I don't mind when guys show personality. Yep. I don't like it when they're totally like YouTubers and acting silly and dressing like morons and doing things so personally. I like a bit of old school. I'm an older dude, but I kind of got the feeling that got blown out of proportion. But like you say, if there's stuff behind the scenes and there's more to it than that, and the guys in Calgary are just shaking their heads at this kid for for the way he behaves and the things he says. Maybe there is more to the story than that, but I did think it might be something that was blown out of proportion, but I should go into it a little deeper. Again, that is why they tell you not to say too much, because a lot of opinions, a lot of market out there, you might get roasted for saying something that is off script. But at the same time, I can't even listen to some of the interviews that guys give, because I'm like, there's no way they're going to say anything interested except for huge honor. It's what you dream about as a kid. Like, oh my God, change the channel, right? So I'm torn. I did think that the kid, I didn't hear him say anything crazy. It's not like he's acting like a crazy maniac out there going completely off the script. So maybe 6 to 1, half a dozen the other. I don't know. I should dig into it a little more.
I appreciate your modern day approach to things, because I too am a dinosaur. When I see something that's off the cuff, I'm like, oh goodness. But I do agree. I think we need more personality in this game. You look at other professional sports on a daily basis, we're getting story after story. In the NHL world, it's not like that. And that's why I was sort of like really dumbfounded, the last couple of days. I don't know. Did you see what Nylander wore to the game the other day?
I mean, like his muscle shirt?
He was in the press box with his muscle shirt just walking around. It's kind of cool.
And I'm sure he had a jacket. I mean, I would hope he had a jacket on coming up the elevator and everything else. And it's not like it's hot in that press box. I've spent a lot of time sitting there. It's not hot. It's not hot. Usually I bring like an overcoat because it's cold. Like, fuck, dude. Like, what does the muscle shirt symbolize? Like, the opposite of professionalism. It's called a wife beater. Why is it called that? Because losers and lowlives usually wear that. It's usually covered in barbecue stains. Like, go wear it wherever you want, but like in the Scotiabank Arena during a Maple Leafs game with like, you're literally 20 feet from all of those banners that are hanging of the legends whose numbers are retired with their Stanley Cup banners, and you're just beating the old wife beater up in the fucking thing with your arms showing. Yeah, it's not for me. I think he got cooked pretty hard in the media for wearing that from a lot of different people. And yeah, I'm not on it either. I don't like it. I don't like anything the guys wear. I don't think you need to wear, a black suit and look like you're going to a funeral. But there is a lot of things. I mean, Stecher's wearing some different stuff, and he still looks like professional. Yeah. These guys walk in looking like fucking Big Bird half the time with their goofy look like Bieber. I'm just like, it's not for me. But again, it isn't the end of the world. It doesn't hurt anybody. I get things are moving in a new direction. You want to bring. I just don't see why dressing like you're going to fucking Milan Fashion Week is going to bring people into the game. I don't really get it. I've always taken pride when you watch, maybe football players or basketball players get off the bus, and it's just like, you actually put that shit on to go to your game. Like, what if you lose? Aren't you going to feel like a complete moron, like putting that shit back on and doing interviews that apparently they don't? I'm more in the middle. You don't have to wear a suit. I don't mind that they relax the dress code, mix it up a little bit with some different stuff, but sometimes they go so far off. I'm just like, God, don't you feel silly when you lose, if you lose, and then having to put that silliness back on and go and be taken seriously? That's just me, though. The kids think differently.
In Willie's case, he's actually headed to Milan next month for the Olympics, but I think you're right. Meantime, it's been a tough last year in general for losing some great people, and it happened again yesterday. Bob Pulford, 4 Stanley Cups at the Maple Leafs organization, was part of that 67 squad, passes away. And David Branch, the longtime commissioner of the Ontario Hockey League, just 77 years of age, losing his life yesterday. And it just puts life into perspective. And the Branch one for me got me, just as somebody who, worked in the OHL, covered the OHL for a multitude of years. Like, it really felt like David Branch put that league on the map, quite frankly.
Yeah, man. I mean, the longer you live, the more you're going to notice people that had some kind of an impact, or that you know or have heard of, are going to pass away. It's unfortunate, no doubt about it. And it, like you said, it puts it in perspective. I've been kind of a little rattled lately, turning 40 here this past year. My wife sent something to me the other day that's like, everyone thinks like 50 is middle age or something. It's like, no, the average age is 72 for a guy or something. Yeah. So so you're at middle age is actually 37. I'm like, good God, like it doesn't last forever. And unfortunately, the longer you live, the faster time goes. Like when you're a teenager, you're like a decade. You're like, back when I was 7, no, time doesn't go that fast, man. Like that's a long time ago. But from 31 to 41, it just goes like that. So yeah, man, you step back and take a look at life once in a while, and you lose those legends and people that have done something in the hockey world. It's a sad thing. Hats off to them. And yeah, I guess we had a little philosophical moment here on Leafs Morning Take.
I like that.
Yeah, why not?
No, I feel like your wife's been on social media, because I saw that very same post on Twitter like a week ago. It was like, average age of life is like 75. So 50 years old is not a midlife crisis. 37 is. So here I am turning 37 in August. And I'm like, shit, I am potentially halfway there. But you're so right. Your teens, you're just looking forward to being an adult. You get to being an adult and you're like, where did the time go? And the Leafs still haven't won a Stanley Cup. Our Super Chat charity partner is Sick Kids. Want to make sure your question or comment gets on the show. Hit us up with a Super Chat. Proceeds from our Super Chat will go to Sick Kids, ranked the #1 research intensive children's hospital in Canada, 3rd in the world. So we got the Leafs Nation After Dark coming up after the game tonight with Zach Phillips. And I'm hearing you're going to be a guest on that show tonight. I love that.
Yes, I'm going to be a guest. We will see how she goes. There's been a lot of torching happening on that one. I don't think I've caught the worst of it. I know Zach's done a couple 3-hour shows.
I am stunned Zach has made it to January 6th, 2026. Just
without getting shot or without jumping off a bridge?
Both.
Shit. Yeah, well, we'll see, man. I don't know. They are absolutely devastated by injuries. I mean, the back end is just laughable. We got guys out from every position imaginable, and it doesn't look like there's a lot of light at the end of the tunnel. One thing I think is fortunate is when these guys have their backs against the walls and they're down guys and it's next man up, they've been able to elevate. And I mean, I don't think it's a secret that the Leafs' problem is playing a desperate type of hockey. It's what they lack. They've got lots of talent. They can score lots of goals and put up some numbers. But when the time comes to have your back against the wall and link arms and come out and start swinging and playing real hard and desperate, they have come up short in the past. But this year, I mean, that one of their best performances was the first game they didn't have Nylander or Matthews. And it was like, well, I guess we better do something together. And everyone stepped up and played out of their minds. And it was the most inspiring game of hockey they've played all season long. So all I can say is hopefully with these injuries and against, you could say their rivals or the guys that beat them out last year, or who's been standing in their way of having a lot of playoff success the last few years, is these Florida Panthers. So maybe there'll be some extra motivation there.
So as Rosie referenced, you got 2 interviews for you today. We got Chris Pronger live in about 10 minutes. Then I did a one-on-one with Troy Stecher at practice yesterday. So hear that coming up at the Leafs Nation 4-1 on YouTube. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Leafs Morning Take, wherever you find your podcast. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review. And don't forget to visit theleafsnation.com. This opening segment is brought to you by Table Fare and Social, your go-to spot for pregame bites, after-work drinks, and good times downtown. Conveniently located directly across from the arena and just steps from Union Station and the Metrolinx bus terminal, Table Fare and Social offers a wide selection of food, cold drinks, and space for large groups. Family-friendly fun and ready to host your crew. Book a pregame party for your friends and colleagues at Table Fare and Social, located right across from the arena. You're not wrong on these injury updates. Like, I was at practice yesterday. I think Craig Berube spoke for about 25 minutes addressing everything. But the most notable thing for me, I guess, McCabe's out. Fuck. Brandon Carlo's coming back tonight. Now confirmed he is making his return to this lineup.
Whoa, that got confirmed. That's good news.
Yeah.
I've been waiting for him for a while. I think he had some setbacks with a infection after surgery. Are you kidding me? Is this 1890 or what's going on? But shit happens. What are you going to do? And it's pretty good timing, man, because the Tanev news is bad enough. But you look at the minutes that McCabe is logging, his plus minus compared to Morgan Rielly is outstanding. And it's for a reason. He's playing solid. He's doing his job and then some. He is very reliable, and we need him if we need to get the points that we need to get into the playoffs. Tanev is a huge ding, and now McCabe is down. Are you kidding me? It couldn't be a better time for Carlo to come back and see what he's got to offer. I hope he's the Carlo of old from Boston, and he can make his mark on this. If he can weather the storm until McCabe gets back, I think hope is still out there.
I just have a lot of questions. Like, is it pure coincidence that McCabe goes down and now all of a sudden Carlo's ready to go? My other question is like where's Nylander? Like, dude, last I checked, I was at the game on the Saturday post-game. Berube's like, he's making the flight to Detroit. So you assume like he's not that hurt. And this is going to be the 5th in a row that Nylander has missed, although he's skating and wearing beaters in the press box. So maybe, he's just rounding up form for the Olympics here.
So
I don't know. Just like it's been a weird year with these injuries, man. Like you look at the rundown: McCabe, Carlo, Tanev, Stolars, Joshua, Nylander. I guess it's great Stoley's skating too. I saw that.
I mean, yeah, it's great, but he's not skating with the team or any type of practice. Like, are we a month? Like, what did you do? Like, no one even knows. It's you used to like go down. It's like, oh, there goes his knee, and that's 4 to 6. And now it's just like, it's very mysterious. No one saw anything, but he's going to be out for 2 months, and we're just going to forget about him for a while. And then nobody asks questions. It is weird. Not going to the level where we're calling people out for being soft or having no battle or being made of porcelain or saving yourself for the Olympics. There's been a lot of things thrown out there. I just chalk it up to bad luck. Everyone says every team goes through injuries, but I'm sorry. You want to compare notes. I'm pretty sure the Leafs are going to win that one in this season. And even when they are healthy, they have played like dog shit. I'm not saying that's why they are where they are. They have gotten themselves here on their own accord, but there has been a lot of injuries to battle through. And like you say, right now is no exception. So I guess a good thing, I don't know, it's probably just convenient timing if you ask me, that Carlo's back right when he goes down. Maybe he would have taken an extra 2 or 3 days if it wasn't for McCabe. I don't know. I guess that's what you're saying, but he is back and we need him. So I hope he's ready.
Yep. So Florida's in town. Of course, Oliver Ekman-Larsson won the Stanley Cup with them. Congrats to him on making the Olympic squad. But can you believe the Leafs moved on from an Olympian last summer when Pontus Holmberg, we don't want you, signs with Pontus Holmberg is going to the Olympics. Can you believe that, Rosie?
Pontus, you've made the Olympian. Yes, good for you, Pontus.
How did that call go?
I don't know, man. Like, good for him. Like, it's just for the argument of it's difficult to perform in Toronto and everyone thinks that's bullshit. How many players have left Toronto and then just like, oh, spread my wings and let me fly? It happens. Like, there'd be pages of players that leave Toronto and go on to make their mark and do damage in the league. And, Fraser Minton I think he's doing pretty good in Boston.
Don't even say that name.
Like, Pontus, a guy who, good hockey player and NHLer, but an Olympian? Like, and then he leaves and away he goes. It's like clockwork, man. It is more difficult to play in Toronto. It's not the media's fault, but it's because of how much scrutiny there is on the team. It just simply makes it harder to perform. And there is a reason why they haven't won since 67. And that huge market and big, fat, hot spotlight is definitely part of it. And you can see it with the team success and you can see it with the individuals as well. There's nothing you can do to convince me otherwise. I've been there. I've felt it. I've been my number one thing coming in to do this media is to keep that in mind. And here we are. I still torch them if they need to be torched.
It's funny. The inverse is like Luke Shen, who I think plays his best hockey as a Maple Leaf, and he struggles sometimes to find his game outside of Toronto. Like, I feel like he's the opposite. It's kind of funny, how much guys struggle in this market. Shenner's different, it feels.
Well, I tweeted how silly it was last game when they played Winnipeg. They scratched Luke on his 1,099th game back in Toronto where he'd be ready to rock. And it kind of popped off with a few look-sees. I don't think he's been playing his best in Winnipeg, but I don't know. You think there'd be an appetite for Schenner to come back to Toronto this year if need be?
That'd be sick. I just don't know if they're in a position to add anything. I don't even know what it would cost. I mean, if it's a Myers for a Shen, sure. I will just add, I was at that Winnipeg game. It's so great to see that guy, and you could tell he's so revered and well liked. He was in the press box, dude. A billion people did a stop and chat with Luke Shen. I was one of them. Like everybody from Joe Bowen to Mike Zeisberger to Dave McCarr, like the who's who of the media all wanted to say hi to Luke Shen. It just shows you how much that guy is revered in this market.
Yeah, he is a good dude, down to earth, Sasky boy, all-time good dude. It's funny, like it was his second year, I think, the first time I played with him, and he was like the face of the Leafs for his first year as an 18-year-old.
Yeah.
I always wondered how you could just step into the league and not even think anything of it. He's one of those guys that doesn't get thrown by like pressure or like read into things or overthink anything. And now like an 18-year vet just blows my mind. Good for him. Hats off. I remember when he was going through some adversity and was in the minors for the first time in his career and was thinking that could be it. And he battled right through and made many, many more years to his career and got to 1,000 games and all the rest of it. So yeah, it doesn't surprise me. Everyone wanted to say hi to the Luke's Troops originator.
And I got a chance to apologize in person for that tweet that he found out about in the playoffs a couple years. I was like, hey, man, sorry about the tweet. Now, he's such a nice guy. He just laughed. He doesn't care. But I was like, just again, like, so you don't hate me. Just like, it was a funny back and forth. At the Leafs Nation 4-1, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. So you look at tonight's opponent, it's always going to be a big matchup. Again, the Leafs took care of business in December, but for me, everything's got to roll through Austin Matthews, and I'm told they're going to honor him before the game passes Mats over the weekend. It really starting to feel like Matthews is back, where every game you look at the box score, you watch the game, 2 goals, 3 goals, multi-point effort. The last 4 games, Rosie's got 10 points, 25 shots on goal. I feel like the shots on goal are a telltale sign of where this guy's at, and he's buzzing, and especially now without Nylander still in this lineup, Matthews is elevated, thankfully, and that's why they're 4-0-2 over the last 6 games here.
Yeah, got to keep chugging. I mean, a great time for him to find his game is when they were in that toilet there. They made that Savard move, and it needed to look different, and it has, large part thanks to him. I think he looks great right now. I'll tell you how much I think he looks great is my Tim's picks. I'm on like a 6-dayer, and I need a week of coffee, and it was McDavid or Matthews as the first pick. And I went with Poppy because I think he's hot. And I hope he continues that against these dickheads tonight in the Florida Panthers. We will see, man. But yeah, he has looked completely different. Again, I just love the fact that he looks great and he's back and he's scoring at a clip that is ungodly, that he has basically done his entire career, which they will mention tonight, I'm sure. But it can't help but wonder, what on earth was going on? Was it an injury and did it just magically heal? Because I expected him to be like this starting the season, as you had a whole off season to get ready. I've mentioned this before. It makes no sense that all of a sudden after a little 2 days off for the Christmas, he's just flying again. Nonetheless, maybe just don't ask questions and enjoy the ride and see if he can carry this team to a couple of points tonight.
TVD 59 writes in, Alberga has been on off the Matthews bandwagon so much he could be a Leafs defenseman. And that's appropriately put, but I just call it how I see it. And pardon me?
Has he not played that inconsistently?
Well, exactly.
Like going where the wind blows. Like, what do you want to say? You just say what you see, and he has been all over the place. So I think rightfully so. And that guy, like, I always think that too. Like, you're so on the bandwagon, off the bandwagon, whether it's with the Leafs or with Matthews. It's like, if they're going to be that inconsistent, all you can do is report on what you see and say, God, do they look good tonight? Or what the hell was that? That goes for Matthews and the team in itself. So I don't call, we are yo-yoing on it because that's what they're giving us, especially this season.
Well, to your point, I guested on NHL Network Radio yesterday, and Boomer, one of their fantastic hosts, asked me, like, what's changed in Matthews? And I'm like, dude, I don't have an answer, because 3 weeks ago, he looked like there was a piano on his back, like figuratively and literally, like watching him play. It was difficult. And now he's got all this pep and jump. I wish I had an answer for you though, Rosie.
I know it is a head scratcher. I try not to speculate, but it's hard not to when you're watching this. And yeah, it's like Austin Powers getting his mojo back all of a sudden. He's like, I'm back, baby. And I don't know. Again, maybe don't ask questions. Just enjoy the fact that he is back and buzzing, and hopefully continues tonight against these Cats.
This is great. Speaking of buzzing, we got Troy Stecher coming up in about 15 minutes here, but happy to bring in today's guest. Happy New Year to him. Hockey Hall of Famer, former Olympian. He's done everything in this game. It is Chris Pronger with the I Love You mug and then the Team Canada hat. How are you, buddy?
Cute.
How are you?
Shit.
I believe we're having some audio difficulty. We'll patch up with you in 1 second. But Chris Pronger, I mean, we're going to talk some World Juniors a bit with him here. And also just look at this Maple Leafs team. But that's probably not what I expect from Chris Pronger, out of all people, right? With the mug. Like, he was one of the more fierce competitors. I loved watching Prongs play, Rosie.
No, he's like those tough guys that are actually sweethearts off the ice. I'm not surprised at all. A cute mug like that. I like it. We'll see if we get this audio going here so we can actually talk to him.
We're going to do it in sign language. Yeah, we still don't have him, but we're going to try our best to connect here with Chris Pronger, who I believe could be muted here, but maybe he can reconnect and we can try him one more time here. But I think it's so interesting when you look at this matchup that you look at the Maple Leafs, it's been this scrutinized story this season, Rosie. And then conversely, you look at the standings, the Panthers are 2 points up on them, but there's this like optimism because Matthew Tkachuk is around the corner. I don't know if you watched the Winter Classic, but Barkov's in a knee brace, like skating prior to practice. He's far away, but they're really, really dinged up. It just shows you the perspective difference with the two squads.
Yeah, there's lots of difference in recent success and, injury riddled by a lot of them. Similarities there. There was some rumors about Tkachuk being back tonight. That is not the case. Yeah. I hope. Hey, I imagine
they haven't said anything.
Be hot around the collar of that guy. So yeah, I mean, they've had their woes. I keep waiting for them. Their like day in the sun to be over, like 3 cup finals in a row. Like, who does that? It's a modern day dynasty. I've respected the hell out of the way they played, but I'm tired of it. And I would gladly take the idea of them taking a great big step back. And I think we have to wait to see if that is the case or not, as they have been down some of their main engine components on their team. So we'll see if we'll see what they got tonight. I hope Tkachuk's not back, to be honest with you, not to be a puss, but be nice to face them depleted, as so many teams have done against our team this year.
Prongs, do we have you? We still don't have you. Can you try to reconnect here? Sorry, our apologies. We're trying our best here to connect with Chris Pronger. We're having some mic issues.
Season 1 vibes of Leafs morning take here.
It is. It happens. It's part of life. I think the interesting thing too is like you get that reminder now and again every little while from the Florida Panthers that, hey, we're a legitimate team. They beat Colorado in regulation on Sunday. It's only happened 3 times. And I understand maybe the Avs are a bit flat after Blackwood goes down the last couple of days, and, seeing Landeskog, their captain, go down, always some rough stuff. But I think it's a nice little reminder the Panthers are legit, right?
Oh, yeah. They've got the DNA inside of them. They know how it's done. I mean, when they're playing their brand of hockey, it's the best. It's the best hockey that's been played in the last 2 or 3 years. You see people copycatting them and trying to make their team more like them. I don't even know if that's possible, but to me, it's just, it's the dogs that you've got on there that you've signed. You've gotten guys to take discounts, it seems like, and you just have this powerhouse team. And on top of that, like with Seth Jones, when he gets there, he's like, oh my God, we sat down in the video room and they were like, dude, this is our system. This is how we do it. You have to learn it. And we have all bought into this, and you are going to be no exception. He's just like, wow, goes and does that, wins a Stanley Cup. It's pretty wild what they've done over there. I have nothing but respect for it. I love the way they play. People hate them. Why do you hate them? Because they're so goddamn good at what they do. So we'll see what they got tonight. Like you said, they're not having the season that they have in the past. They're banged up, but still capable of putting a regulation win against the Avalanche, man. That is no small feat.
I see him on the screen. Do we have Chris Pronger's voice? We still don't hear Chris Pronger. We're gonna have to do this in sign language, Rosie. Prongs is losing his shit back there. We'll try to Yeah, I have. We're trying our best behind the scenes here, but do you know any sign language, Rosie?
No, my wife actually does. She took that for some unknown reason in school,
Get
but
her
I
on.
should haul her down here. Dale make her appearance on Leafs Morning Take. We'll see. I don't know. Sometimes it's something weird, like something Bluetooth being hooked up or an earbud or those things hook up out of nowhere. Don't know, but we'll see if we can sort it out. Zachy is our producer today, and I believe in him.
Prongs, I'm going to get Zach to reach out to you via phone call. So give this a second as I do this live on air here. But the Leafs and Panthers tonight, looking forward to this one. And I think it's interesting to me that we're sitting here in early January and it's like, this is a crucial game in the standings. Like all I could think about the last couple of days since the Leafs last played, and what a winner by Matthew Schaefer. Like that's just a game you need to get. And they just couldn't get it in regulation, get the 2 points. But the teams around them are all playing and all getting points. And it just seems, Rosie, like they're always playing each other too, right?
And when it rains, it pours, man. Like you put yourself in a position and you've maybe figured it out and you're playing better hockey and you could have popped yourself into a playoff spot. But you look at your contenders around you in the division and it's just like, this team's 10 out of 12 points, and they're all the ones that are just circling around you. So you could rattle off, you could have a weekend where you play 2 games and you get 4 points and it does FA. Like you're going to run out of track and road here. So we will see. I keep fearing the fact that if you lose like 2 games in a row, all of a sudden it's going to be almost impossible. And I mean, the injuries aren't helping anything. Morgan Rielly is just like at a time where our D is depleted. We're losing the play of Morgan Rielly to a degree that's like unseen from the guy before. So we'll see what's going on here. Hopefully we can connect with Prongs because there's lots of stuff we could pick his brain about today.
Either that or we're doing this in sign language. Prongs, can you hear us, buddy? Still nothing. Still nothing. This is a very tough go on today's show. I know Zach's trying to talk to him behind the scenes, so we'll try to keep that going here. But again, Troy Stecher is coming up on today's show. It does have the year one vibes, hasn't it, Rosie? That was a really difficult year for this podcast. We've really grown, but technology is part of this whole thing, man. Sometimes just doesn't want to comply with us.
I had that laptop that I almost threw across this room because it would just crash. And then you just have anxiety doing the show. You're waiting for it just to implode. It's not fun. But even on last night, World Juniors, I was watching and, that's the big, bad, super national broadcast. And the lady's sitting there interviewing the kid in the first 30 seconds. You can't hear a damn thing. It happens. It's technology, man. But such is life. Maybe we'll sort it out. Maybe we won't. But we sure appreciate Prongs just grinding behind the scenes, trying to get the damn thing on.
He's really grinding behind the scenes, so we'll try our best here. Joseph Woll is going to start this game. I would assume it's going to be Sergei Bobrovsky going for the Florida Panthers. He didn't play, actually, weirdly enough. They put the backup in, Tarasov, against Colorado over the weekend. They took care of business. But as far as I know, to your point about Matthew Tkachuk, I don't think he has taken off the non-contact jersey, so I think he still needs a couple more practices, thankfully. The last thing we want is a Matthew Tkachuk lineup there with the Florida Panthers. But regardless of who's in that lineup, you just got to go out there, take care of business. You got to play that stingy style too. Like if the Leafs are going to win this game, it's got to be that defensive brand we've seen under Craig Berube the last couple of years here.
Yeah, I mean, just like any other team, defensive brand mixed with, the ability to finish, create offense, play in the offensive zone, keep momentum. Start the game on time, start the periods on time, like all this stuff. You got to do it, and you got to do it at such a consistent clip that it has to basically become your identity. And that's just the reality that they're living in with the hole they've put themselves in. So they've certainly been looking better at doing that. Oddly enough, it's as soon as they fire an assistant coach, they just decide to find themselves. I don't care why it is or who led it or what was the story. I like watching it, and I hope it continues tonight.
Got a feel for today's guest because I'm sure he was told post-retirement's not going to be a grind, but it certainly is. I do believe we have Chris Pronger now on the show. Prongs, how are you, buddy? Maybe we don't. This is not our day. This is not our day. Hey, we got you.
We're doing this. We are doing this.
What a grind. I'm sorry about that.
I am not quitting.
Look at this wily veteran facing adversity and just powering through.
Holy shit, Prongs.
This
Happy
was
New
going to
Year,
work
man.
one way or another.
That was
Yeah,
painful. Thanks for sticking
can't
it
thank you
out.
enough for grinding through this whole thing. Really appreciate this now with Chris Pronger. Let's get into things. We see your hat. We want to start with the World Junior. What was your overall take from that tournament from the Canadian perspective?
I think from the outset, I think expectations are always very, very high. I think when you look at the cream of the crop as it relates to that age group, they're in the NHL. The players that are there, are they being asked to do something that maybe they're not capable of? Are they trying to play a system that maybe they're not capable of? Are they trying to be too cute? Are they not playing? Are they trying to play too much of a skill game versus a heart and soul, blood and guts? We're gonna have an energy line. We're gonna be physical and aggressive. We're gonna come at you. I think we've seen in years past a lot of complaints that Canada's not skilled enough, and now we're hearing that they don't have enough heart. And I think it's probably a little bit of both. Their top end players are in the national. What does that team look like with Macklin Celebrini? What does that team look like with Matthew Schaefer? What does that team look like with Bennett Seneke? Like, you go down that list, what does it look like when those players are there? And if we go back, 5-10 years, those top end players, a lot of them were playing on that team. And so, you look at these other countries, they've got their top end players. They've got top end 19-year-olds. That tournament is a 19-year-old tournament, realistically, with a handful of 18-year-olds and 17-year-olds, etc. But you look at a Gavin McKenna, who, by all accounts, has probably struggled more than many expected in college. That's a 22 to 24-year-old league. So you look at a 17, 18-year-old and you look at a 22 to 24-year-old with respect to how strong they are, how mature they are, all of the things as it relates to the game of hockey from a physical standpoint, and then a maturity standpoint, a mental aspect of the game. You would expect that they would struggle a little bit. Having said that, to lose in the manner that they did to Czechia, I think rubs people the wrong way. It's not a prototypical Dale Hunter exit. For those that have watched the London Knights play in since they've owned the team. So I think in that regard, whether it's they got full buy-in, whether they found the chemistry that they thought they were going to get, I've heard also people talk about, the number of players that either weren't there or could have been there. And that's a coulda, shoulda, woulda. Let's stop making excuses and just, we didn't get it done. It happens. All these other countries are getting better too. Czechia for a number of years was down in the dumps, in the doldrums. They couldn't win a hockey game in their World Junior, and now they're back on top and beat Canada. They get a silver medal, and it's we have to realize that other countries have good players too.
Yeah, and they seem to be getting better all the time, no question. You talked about Gavin McKenna taking some heat, I would say right now. He looked fine in the tournament, had some numbers, but I mean, for a first overall generational talent is what he's touted as. I mean, you mentioned this is a 19-year-old tournament where he's playing in a league that's a 22-year-old league in the NCAA. But what is the NHL? Like a 27, 28, 29-year-old guys in their prime, best in the world league. You look at Macklin Celebrini, doesn't seem to be having any trouble with it. I think if you're trying to compare the two, you would think McKenna would be able to light this tournament up a little bit, and it just didn't go that way. Do you think there's some hesitation from teams who are thinking they might have the first overall pick with him?
Well, I think you go back to his year last year and the points he was putting up in the dub, and then to kind of see where he's at in the NCAA and now in this tournament. I'm sure there are teams that have a little pause for concern, and each year, each so-called generational talent is going to be different. You've got Matthews, McDavid, you've got all these iterations, Lafreniere. You go through all these years where you got the number one pick, and look at last year. The Islanders luck out, they get the first pick. You got Matthew Schaefer there. There was talk that maybe Misa could go. Maybe there's a number of guys that could have went. they knew who they were going to take. I think the injury that he had last year probably affected that, so-called, I'm going to be the number one status player. But drafting is not easy. Sometimes there's a head and shoulders guy that is the guy and everybody knows it. And if you don't take that guy, you're crazy. Or if you think about trading that pick, you're crazy. This is the player you're going to build around, a Connor McDavid, 10 or 15 year player for your franchise. Sometimes they don't have that player. It's there's 3 or 4 guys that are kind of mulling around in that 1, 2, 3, 4 slot. And so that can be challenging, I think, for teams to figure out how do you find separation in the talent of those players, and does it boil down to character and the intangibles that sometimes present themselves?
And nobody ever remembers who goes number 2, right?
Correct.
Funny how we don't have Dag on here today, but interesting to you, Nick.
It's always nice. I always love hearing that quote.
I bet.
Oh, it's awesome. So obviously in Leafs Nation, we know a thing or two about battling adversity. So just another day at the office watching the Canadian team, but 41 games through 82 for this Maple Leafs team. What's been your take for this first half for Craig Berube and company?
Very inconsistent. I think finding identity post Mitch Marner, your buddy Nick.
Yeah.
And I think trying to map out what that looks like. I think a lot of times you defer to players that are facilitators like he is. And I think they're trying to find who that person can be on their current roster. Do they need to find somebody else? Do they need to bring in somebody? What does that look like? I heard you talking while I was having audio troubles about Austin Matthews the last couple of weeks. He does look like a different player. I think for me, the biggest issue I have with him is when Connor McDavid or Nathan McKinnon or players of that caliber want to get the puck, they go get it. They go as deep as they have to go in the defensive zone to pick it up, and they want the puck on their stick. He wants, in my opinion, watching him, he wants somebody else to do a lot of the work, which in this case used to be Mitch Marner, facilitating, and he would find the open seams. He would then take it from the blue line in and figure out what to do from there. Those other guys take it end to end. Those other guys create space with their pace, their speed, their separation, and their ability to back off the defense of the other team to create space for their teammates. And I think that's been something that I think has looks like it has bothered him. Early in the year, last year, he didn't quite have that separator, that breakaway speed, that ability to create separation that maybe he has in years past. And maybe he's finding it again. And what that is, I don't know. There was talk he had a bad back last year. He's had a bad wrist. He's had, a lot of different injuries. As somebody who is a Band-Aid himself, sometimes those things can hamper how you play, or you're trying to just get through a season in hopes that you can find something close to 100%. And, that can be a challenge.
And they seem to be playing better hockey here recently since Christmas. That's much on the shoulders of Austin Matthews looking like a different person. Sometimes they look like a different team entirely. And the pinpoint on the timeline was firing Mark Savard, which he's an assistant coach. I mean, let's be honest, how much impact can you really have on a team? But the power plays completely flipped it since then as well. What's your thoughts on the timeline of them kind of looking like they've turned a corner a little bit?
Yeah, it's hard to really make a full analysis unless I was there around the locker room, understanding the dynamic of Mark Savard with power play with the players. Sometimes a new voice can help, especially a power play like that had struggled as much as it had. Entries, when you're able to enter the zone, the offensive zone, in an easier manner on a power play, it takes a lot of pressure off you to get set up, to get full control. I think a lot of times when you watch them in the past, they enter the zone, they get kind of set, and then they rim the puck around the boards and they restart the pressure of the defense. And so that you're constantly trying to navigate around the pressure of the penalty killers. And when you don't have, as we talked about earlier, a facilitator like Marner, who you relied on a lot in the past, you really don't get into a rhythm or a structure that sets everybody up in the right spots. And I think when you look, I saw Frankie Corrado breaking this down the other day. You look at their entries, you look at how they change sides, you look at some of these things, how quickly they're able to get set up and then get to the middle of the ice. I am a huge proponent of getting the middle of the ice early, establishing a point shot or some type of shot that is going to put the penalty killers on alert and create chaos and indecision and indecisiveness and how or where they go in the defensive zone, which then can open up seams and lanes for those cross ice passes where they are elite and dangerous.
Prongs, I feel like I'm losing my mind because it's January 6th and on a daily basis I'm looking at the standings. So I ask you just an honest question. Do you think this team, is there enough runway to make the playoffs? Do you think they make the playoffs?
There's enough runway. You know, it's can they find the consistency necessary to do so? You know, you look at a team like Buffalo goes on a 10 game winning streak and look at what that did for them. They're just now kind of hovering. So they're going to have to go on a bit of a run. You know, St. Louis is in a similar boat here. They've got to start putting together 4 and 5 game winning streaks, lose one, 4 and 5 game winning streaks to then create that separation that's needed. Are they able to do that though? That's the trick in this condensed schedule. Are they able to find ways to win the games where they don't necessarily have their best? And that's the hallmark of a really good team is figuring out ways to win, whether it's locking it down and winning a 2-1 game, whether it's, you know, it happens to be a high scoring game, finding ways to score goals, you know, relying on your goaltender to steal a game now and then. All the different ways that we see teams win hockey games, they have to then utilize those in those moments when, in those games when they don't feel 100% or they don't feel like they have it and they're not able to give 100% of what people think they have to give 100% of what they have. And so that'll be the interesting thing in this stretch run on before the Olympics and then certainly post Olympics when it's just going to be a mad dash to the playoffs.
Mm-hmm. And at this point in time, a lot of people talking about a certain player, Morgan Rielly, defenseman who's been here a long time. He's certainly not playing his best hockey right now, highlighted by last game against the Islanders going -4 and just making some peewee level mistakes out there defensively. You know, I know plus minus isn't everything. He's -15 compared to Jake McCabe's plus 26. I think that is fairly telling. What are you seeing out of Morgan Rielly and his game right now?
Yeah, I think because they're missing offense up front. So you need to get it on the back end. You need the back end to provide some offense. He looks to me like he's cheating a little bit defensively in order to provide that offense. He's looking for, you know, poke checks and things where maybe he should be playing the body and lining up differently. And his angles are off a little bit. He's taking shortcuts where he needs to really be more focused in the defensive side of it, getting on the right side of, you know, piles and things of that nature. And just, if they all focused on the defensive side, I personally believe that then is going to translate to better transition game and they're going to be able to go north-south quicker. They're going to play a faster game and they're going to be able to utilize the skill set that they currently have.
Prongs, excellent stuff. Thank you for gutting through this today. Appreciate it. We'll talk soon, okay?
Blood and guts for anything for you guys.
Love it.
You're the best.
Still a warrior.
Take care, buddy.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Bronx.
You bet.
There's Chris Pronger. Yeah, he was told life would be easy post-retirement, but then technology got in the way. So we appreciate Prongs for hanging on there and to get his perspective on this Maple Leafs team. And man, I thought that was a really appropriate question at the end. It's just so up and down when you look at the trials and tribulations of one Morgan Rielly. I just don't know what to expect on a nightly basis, which is concerning. I mean, by minute standpoint, he plays a lot. He's a top offensive defenseman, but it really feels like we're at the end of the road with Morgan Rielly here in Toronto, almost getting there at least.
Well, I don't know what the future holds for him. He kind of holds the cards, to be honest with you. I know, he just is a Maple Leaf. He has been for the longest time of anyone on the roster by, I think, a long shot. And he's just at the point where he is in such a rut. It seems like, like quicksand. The harder, I imagine, like he's doing it, he's aware that he's not playing good. He is an NHL veteran. And the more, like quicksand, you try to struggle to make it happen, the deeper you go. And it's so easy to lose your confidence, especially at that position. But my God, it's been pretty ugly. I imagine this is the low point of his career, and what the future holds, I really don't know. How do you move on from that? He's got a no trade movement. He's making 7.5 until like 2030. There's not a lot of things that stack up for the Leafs to be able to move on with him and have him be accepting of that and uproot his family and make a change of scenery and have someone who's willing to take him and his contract and give up something that makes it worthwhile for the Leafs to pull the trigger. It's just a very difficult task ahead to have this be the end of Morgan Rielly's tenure with the Maple Leafs. But without question, the only thing that matters is his play on the ice, and it has been beyond subpar so far lately.
Yeah, that's very well said, and he's got to rise up. So does the rest of the back end, especially with no Tanev, no McCabe. Like, I'll be honest, it's concerning when you put that into perspective. McCabe's been an absolute horse this season. So has Chris Tanev, who's only played 11 or 12 games. But everybody needs to rise up. At the Leafs Nation 401, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. So thank you once again to Chris Pronger for dropping by. Now we're going to get to our other interview. As you guys know, there's been a couple times this season where I've headed to practice, did a one-on-one. I did the same yesterday prior to this Panthers game. Today, I got a chance to catch up with the one and only Troy Stecher. Enjoy it. By popular demand, joined now by the man, the myth, the legend himself, Troy Stecher. Happy New Year. Is it too late to say that or what?
No, Happy New Year to you as well.
Thank you so much for doing this. So, 22 games into this thing in Toronto. How are we feeling about life here?
Good. Obviously, try to come in here and help this team with hockey games, and for the most part during that stretch we have, and just continue to try to push for the playoffs.
You've been very infectious with your enthusiasm, your tenacity, what you bring to the table. How good does it make you feel when you hear some of your teammates, what they had to say, even Nyes a couple weeks ago, McMahon the other night? How good does that make you feel?
Yeah, like, those are the guys you play for, obviously, are your teammates. So anytime your teammates are taking notice, it's a nice feeling to get that recognition. But at the end of the day, you have a job to do, and I'm trying to do my job as an individual player, and I'm glad my teammates are taking notice, so that feels good.
Be honest, how many times you watched that clip of after the Ottawa game where you're not entertained, where you pumped up the crowd? That was unreal to be in that building for that one.
Once or twice. A little embarrassed of it, honestly, so I haven't watched as much as people probably think.
I thought it was awesome, man. Like, I think you just have this ability to drag your team into the fight. Where did this come from? Like, obviously we've tracked your career a bit. You found your standing now, like really found a home here in Toronto. But have you always been that type of guy where it's like, hey, like rah, let's do this, boys, on a nightly basis?
Not necessarily. I think more than anything, I try to play with a lot of compete. It's something I pride myself on, and I think with that, it's an emotional game, and sometimes you get caught up in your emotions. That instance, for example, it's against a division rival, provincial rival, right after Christmas. Almost blew a lead and find a way to win an exciting 7-5 game. So yeah, just kind of caught in the moment, wanted to get the building going. So I think maybe when my career is over, I'll look back and have a good laugh about it.
Dude, I thought it was great. I think the awesome thing, too, is that I don't know how tapped in you are to social media, but there are a lot of Leafs fans out there calling you Troy Forsling. And that's like the biggest sign of respect. As you know, Gustav Forsling, widely regarded as one of the top waiver pickups of all time. What does that mean to you to be so endeared by the fan base already like this?
It's great. Obviously, you love having that support. And I don't want to say the wrong thing, but at the end of the day, truly the only people that matter are your teammates, your coaching staff, and the organization. But yeah, it's always nice when the fans support you as an individual player. It means a lot. It's something my family takes a lot of pride in, and it makes them quite happy. So more than anything, I'm just trying to be myself, and I'm glad that the city of Toronto has accepted me for who I am, and hopefully we can turn this into something a lot bigger than it is.
Take us back to mid-November. I think it's so important when you cover professional sports to humanize the situation. So you're with the Oilers the last couple seasons. You get placed on waivers. Can you talk about behind the scenes what happens when somebody gets claimed on waivers and sort of your initial reaction? You find out it's Toronto.
You have 24 hours until you get the news of whether you're going to be claimed or if you cleared and you're going to go down to the minors, and you just kind of sit there, and a lot of unknown. For myself, I guess, in that situation, I knew regardless I was going to be playing hockey. It's a matter of where. It's a lot more stressful for my wife, and we don't have kids, so it's a little bit easier that way, but just uprooting their entire life. And I get a phone call from Stan Bowman in Edmonton telling me that Toronto claimed me, and then receive a phone call from Tree and just telling me that welcome me to the team. And next thing you know, you try to pack your bags and get on the earliest flight as you can to meet the team wherever they are. So 24-hour whirlwind, but it's not that bad. At the end of the day, you're playing hockey. It's what I love to do. It was my dream, so I'm just thankful to be continuing to play.
Was it easier or harder to get that Edmonton game out of the way? Like maybe 10 games in that you play the Oilers there in December?
Yeah, that was just another game for me. It's my 7th team, so I've played against a lot of former teams before. So, there was nothing magnified in playing against my old squad.
No revenge game at all. I wanted to ask you a bit about Austin Matthews. Obviously, the stick taps at practice, passes Mats, which is just so incredible. And I think it's so cool, too, that you've had the aspect in, 2 short months to practice with somebody like McDavid, Draisaitl, now here with Willie, Matthews. What's that experience been like, and what do you notice, the daily habits from Austin Matthews?
Yeah, I mean, those guys are... It's not a mistake they're as good as they are, They're constantly working on their craft, and that's why they're so successful. You go from team to team, and all those top guys are kind of wired the same, cut from the same cloth, and those guys are... It's not a mistake they're as good as they are, They're constantly working on their craft, and that's why they're so successful. You go from team to team, and all those top guys are kind of wired the same, cut from the same cloth, and
What the hell's going on today?
Yeah, we got some tech issues, but that was a bit of Troy Stecher. We're going to get that interview up after this show, so appreciate everybody for tuning into that. But yeah, it's that type of day here. But we look forward to this game here against the Florida Panthers, Rosie. We'll see what this Maple Leafs team has in store. I think considering the standings, considering some of the injuries mounting up, but you're right that everybody from the back end to, Austin Matthews need to pull their weight because, the Panthers are going to be ready for this one tonight.
Yeah, you would think so, man. Just like Prong said, though, you just got to find a way to play consistent. And, whether your goalie bails you out one time or you score 5 goals or your D are just impenetrable, whatever it takes, you got to find something to get you a win every single night. Or at least be close. And like he said, you got to win 4 or 5 and then lose 1. You can't be losing 2, winning 1, losing 1, winning 2. That ain't going to get it done. Your season's over. You have made this bed. Now you got to lie in it. And the way to get out of this is to play some seriously consistent hockey. And they have been doing that since the break of Christmas. I absolutely admit, and it's great to see. You got different guys going, but I mean, it is a battle and an uphill climb with the injuries that they have, especially on the back end. So interested to see what they have tonight. Obviously, Florida's been been banged up all season too. I'm sure they're used to it by now, but they've got so many horses in that lineup that anybody could step up and make a difference. And I'm sure they'll be licking their chops to do that tonight. So Leafs need to be ready. I am curious for this one too. I'm doing After Dark, and I can't help but wonder what my mood's going to be like. Would be a real big boost, especially for this team to keep going and playing consistent hockey if they can beat these big cats.
So I'll just take ownership. It might have been the way I saved the file. I don't think it's saved completely. I don't know. I'm not going to point fingers. But again, you can catch the entire Troy Stecher interview on our YouTube page at the Leafs Nation 401. It's time now for the last call, brought to you by Bet365. Whatever your bet is, it's never ordinary at Bet365. Download the app and get in the game. Use code NATION. That's NATION, NATION. Must be 19 or older, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has a gambling problem, visit ConnexOntario.ca. You got a bet? I think I'm going to play the Matthew Nyes anytime goal tonight.
Matthew? Yeah, that wouldn't be bad. I'm taking Pappy to score. I'm sure it's shite odds, but doing it nonetheless. And I'm also taking Jonathan Tavares. I think when back's kind of against the wall, you got a big-time opponent, and something special needs to be done. I think it's a good bet to put it on the back of John Tavares to be a big part of that. I think he'll be sniffing around the net, maybe get a greasy little rebound or maybe a token JT tip tonight. So I'm also taking him to get on the board.
Love it. Looking forward to this one. Looking forward to tomorrow's show. I believe you're gone tomorrow, right?
I think so.
Yeah, so Dave Pagnotta is going to be in. Again, you can catch the entire Stecher interview at the Leafs Nation 401 on our YouTube channel, wherever you find your podcasts as well. Chris Pronger as well. We'll get that up for you guys. And, we'll reconvene on Thursday, Rosie, ahead of Scott Lawton's return to Philadelphia. Looking forward to that one, too.
Oh, the Fly Guys. I like it. Looking forward to it. We'll see you guys then. Enjoy the game tonight against our bitter rivals.
Yes, and just one of those days, folks. Thank you for hanging with us at the Leafs Nation 401. Hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Leafs Morning Take wherever you find your podcast. Make sure to leave us a 5-star review. Don't forget to visit theleafsnation.com. Don't forget to check out the Leafs Nation After Dark with Zach Phillips. Did a bang-up job filling in today for Vic Paladian, producer Vic. Rose is going to be on that broadcast, so looking forward to that. We're out. We'll talk tomorrow. Take care, everybody. Make sure to check out more of our content right here on the Leafs Nation YouTube page. We got long-form interviews. We got clips. We got epic rants by Jay Rosehill. We simply have it all. And don't forget, you can find out much more at theleafsnation.com. Thanks so much for watching.